My name is Quint and welcome to Quint's Q's lacrosse instructional video. Lacrosse is a game of skill. You can't compete until you've mastered the techniques. In this video, you will learn from the best players and coaches in the sport of lacrosse. We've got Gary Gait, Dave Petramala, Mike Morrow, Dave Cottle, Don Zimmerman, and Frank Kelly. They're going to teach you the skills that have made them so successful. You will also be entertained by game highlights, and you'll see how those skills translate into improved performance during games. Gary Gait, the most explosive offensive midfielder in modern lacrosse. Gary's remembered for the air gait, behind-the-back passes, and creative play. But Gary's true success is found in his solid fundamentals. Let's take it out to the field as Gary discusses some of the fundamentals of lacrosse. Lacrosse is a skill sport. In order to be competitive, you've got to master the skills, the basics: catching, throwing, scooping. Gary, show me the proper way to hold a stick and to cradle.
Well, the first thing we start with is a grip. Now, when gripping the stick, you want to put the stick between your fingers and thumbs and work it with both hands. So as I'm gripping the stick here, now I have the ability to move that stick in my fingers and turn it with both hands, really developing great control of that stick.
Right, you see a lot of young players who grip the stick very strongly and try to squeeze it and really don't have the control.
When you grip the stick tight, you put it right in that palm and grip it real tight, now the only movement you have of the stick is your wrist movement, and you can see how limited that is. Now you put that in your fingers, now you can do almost anything. You can flip it over, you can turn it, and this will really allow you to keep that ball in your stick.
Okay, you've got the ball, we're in a game, I'm covering you. How are you going to keep the ball away from me? How are you going to protect your stick?
Well, using the upper hand and putting in that fingers, we can develop a really tight cradle. All right, the bottom hand controls when you're using a two-handed cradle. It doesn't actually turn the stick. It just controls the bottom. That top hand cradles. All right, so if I have a defender on, I bring that stick up and protect it. Put the body in between the defensive player and the ball. So now I'm protecting it. As a player makes a check, you want to turn your body to protect that stick. Okay? A big mistake a lot of players make is as the player makes that check, they move their stick out of the way and opens it up for the check. But by keeping that cradle tight and moving your body, you still keep that stick protected. All right, so as I cradle, I'm moving my body and not my arms. And that really allows me to protect that stick.
All right, you've got the ball, you're running downfield, and now you've got to get rid of it. Show me the proper form as far as throwing.
Well, basic throwing, a lot of players, when they begin, don't have great technique. You want to start with your opposite foot forward when you're going to plant and throw the ball. So your opposite foot forward, pointing to where you want it to go. You want your waist and your shoulders parallel to where you're throwing the ball. Then you bring and you take your stick, and as you bring that stick up, you slide that hand down. Or as you're going from your cradle and bring it back to throw it, you slide that top hand down to about there. This will allow you to get some more leverage on the stick. It's important to keep your elbows away from your body. On this top one here and the bottom one here, all right? If you keep it in tight, you're taking away a lot of your leverage and you end up pushing the ball. Okay, so by keeping that out, now we can really get some motion on that throw. Okay, once we're in this set, we want to then take and pull that stick back, all right? This will help develop some power and quickness. So you notice as I pull that stick back, it almost goes parallel. What this will allow you to do is, as you throw the ball, I start with my legs, turning my legs, my hips, my shoulders, and I follow through with my arms, and at the last second, I actually drive that bottom hand out, this one right here, so that then I can pull it really hard and get that extra motion on it right at the end of the throw. Okay, so if I'm using everything to throw that ball, I'm starting from my legs, my hips, driving that stick through, and turning it over. That push-pull motion.
That's great. Let's see those fundamentals put to work with these goals scored in actual games. Watch the pinpoint passing up in the box position and a beautiful low shot.
Catching the ball is very important as well. It's really important to keep the head of your stick up above your shoulder and keep it out in front of you. What this does is it allows the person throwing you the ball a target to throw it to. Once they have that target, as the ball comes, you can cushion it. Not only does that make it easier for the ball to stay in the stick, but as you cushion it back, you'll find yourself in the position to be able to throw the ball right away. So this will help develop your quick stick and really help you develop a good catch so you can make that quick throw.
Lacrosse is a running game. You've got to get the ball, dodge past your opponent, and either pass it to a teammate or shoot. Don Zimmerman, who coached Johns Hopkins to 3 national titles in the 1980s, is going to show you the 4 essential dodges in lacrosse. They're the bull dodge, the split dodge, the face dodge, and the roll dodge. One of the keys to offensive lacrosse is being able to penetrate, being able to defeat your man and score goals. Coach, what are some of the techniques behind dodging?
Well, I think the most important technique is to have a good athletic position and to attack your defender going in a straight line between you and the goal. A demonstration of that would be to take the good athletic position, stick in the proper position in the box area, and try to get the defender to move off that straight line between me and the goal. So to demonstrate, I would come in and I want to use change of speed and change of direction to do this. So I would come in as a dodger. I might start off slow, change of speed, change of direction, watch the defender's hips. When he commits to my fake, then I blow by him for my bull dodge.
Okay, so that's a standard bull dodge. Again, the keys here are change of direction and change of speed. You're going to get me to move one way, and then you're going the other way.
I come in slowly, speed up, fake, and I go. And notice my hands and my stick never really leave that good position. I think it's important for young players, especially, to have a positive feeling about their dodge. They have to expect to beat their man. I think a lot of young players, they go into a dodge hoping to beat their man. And if you hope to beat your man, then you're going to hesitate to see if indeed you did or didn't. But if you expect to beat your man, then there's no hesitation. So once again, I come in, fake, and I go. And I just expect to beat my man and go hard to the goal. One of the things about the split dodge that's good is a lot of times players will know your tendencies and try to overplay your strength. What you can do is you can start with the stick in your weak hand. Hopefully the defender will overplay your weak hand, and then again, change of speed, change of direction, and I go by my man. I'm still in a good athletic position, dodging straight towards the goal.
Let's see that again, right to left
okay,
now.
Right
so
to
I'm
left.
overplaying your right hand.
Overplaying my right. I'll give you my right hand. I'll come in fake, and I'll go. And again, notice the stick never really leaves my sight. A lot of mistakes that younger players make is when they do dodges, they lose sight of their stick. They're too active in here, and if I would lose sight of my stick, it means I've hung it, and a defender can go ahead and get me from behind.
This is a beautiful split dodge. Right to left, stutter step, bear in towards the net with an overhand shot. Textbook example. When you're dodging, you want to run directly at the man, give him a little fake, switch hands, take the check, bear in towards the goal, and in that case, fire it low between the goalie's legs. Oftentimes in lacrosse, defensemen will come out over-aggressively. What are some strategies versus an over-aggressive defenseman?
Okay, whenever a defenseman is running away from the goal, that means he's really prone to being beat, and you want to take advantage of that. Several keys are his stick position. If the defender comes at you with a high stick, then what you want to do is you want to rely on the face dodge. All right, so the defender now is keen on the head of my stick. What I want to do is run at him, give him a fake, invite him to go for the head of my stick, and then I pull it across. So it would look like this. He comes in, I fake, and I run by him. Again, I'm in a good athletic position. My stick, as I fake, never leaves my sight. It's protected. If the defender would try to go over my head, he's going to foul me. All right, he's going to hit my head. On the other hand, if I'd come in here and give it the big face dodge, he checks me from behind.
What if the defender rushes you with his stick down in a poke check position?
With a low stick, you never want to face dodge, because if I would do that, he can poke right into my chest and get the handle. So therefore, what I want to try to do with a low stick is I want to roll. So I come in, he shows me that, and I come around. Again, as I come out of the roll dodge, note that the stick is right in front of my head. I haven't lost sight of it. One of the mistakes that younger players make when executing a roll dodge is they will change hands. And if you notice, when I do a roll dodge and I change hands, I drag the stick, and it's easy for the defender to get me from behind. If I want to go in a straight line, my setup to the roll dodge is going to try to get you off that line. So I would come in, take a step, and now when I roll around you, I've continued on this straight line, and I come through my dodge. Notice I accelerate into the dodge, and I accelerate out of the dodge. A lot of younger players, they'll set up their dodge well, they'll go in hard, but then what they'll do is when they come out of the dodge, they slow down. And that's when they get caught from behind.
Well, thanks, Coach. Let's take a look at some of these game highlights of these excellent dodges. Wow, that split dodge is a real tough move. But what are you going to do if you have the ball behind the net? Well, I found a guy who was a two-time World Team member and current coach at Duke University, Mike Morrow, and he's going to share some tips regarding dodging to the net from behind the cage. Mike, different players use different methods to beat their defensemen to the net and score goals. Give me a couple secrets to how you were so successful.
Well, Quint, what I think is the Bible to dodging is using the three-stage dodge. First stage being a good first move, second stage being sprint to the cage with stick protection, and the third, post them up high and try to get an inside roll, rocker step, and try to get your stick open for a shot.
Let's take a look at the first stage right now, which is the initial move off the end line.
Okay.
I'm playing defense on Michael, he's the attackman.
Okay, it's either off the end line a whistle or right on a pass from your other teammate. You just want to run hard at your guy going at the goal, get him backing up, a quick move one way, and then drive hard this way.
Okay, on that move, say I'm the defenseman, I'm going to be poke checking, or my stick's going to be in front of me. So you want to make the move in front of the man's stick?
Yeah, you want to make the move about 5 yards away from the guy's body because he's going to have a long stick, and you don't want to bring it all the way in front of you because then he'll check and take the ball away.
All right. So show me that move now, half speed, and show me how you protect your stick off of that move.
Okay, you want to come at the guy and sell him with your shoulder and head this way, and then drive off this left leg, and as you do that, bring the stick over here and start bringing this arm up for stick protection. Now my stick is on the opposite side of my body from you, and you can barely see it. If you can't see it, you can't check it.
All right. Once you're in this position, and say you have not gained an advantage on me, what's important at that point?
The most important thing in the second stage is sprint and protect your stick. That's all you can do. A good player like Mark Millen will beat the guy and have an easy goal. The rest of us in the mortal world can't do that. We're not fast enough. So I have to sprint and protect my stick. And so I'm going to sprint up to goal line extended and see if I can outrun my defenseman.
Mike, now you've gotten the goal line extended. What are your options from this position on the field?
The first thing, Quint, you want to look for when you get the goal line extended is you want to see if you have a half a step on your defender from that sprint. You just keep coming around, take 3 more steps, and you've got a great shot right here, okay?
Say I'm in good position. Say I've played excellent defense and I'm in position.
Well, if you're playing me, you're going to be in excellent position because I'm not out sprinting anyone. So when I get the goal line extended, now I've got to drive hard, and set him up on a high post. And the way to do that is I still have my good stick protection. Now I want to turn slightly and angle in, and we're going to lock up, okay? And we're going to walk up this way, and defensemen are taught to push me out. I want to push in, so we're going to end up getting this about here.
Okay, right now we're at about 5 yards above the goal and about 4 yards over. So you're in position really to turn and shoot either way.
Oh, yeah, I'm in position to score right here. I tell our guys at Duke, 5 yards is the minimum that before they're allowed to think about doing anything.
Okay, what are your options from this point?
Okay, from this point I have a couple of options. What you want to look for is where is the defender's stick? Is it in front of me? Then I want to drive in this way, keep my stick in front of my face, and call it inside roll, okay? And go straight for this near pipe. Okay?
Now say my stick is on the back side.
If your stick is behind you, I've got a free shot by just stepping away and shooting that way.
All right. And the third situation, let's say that let's say you try to inside roll and I make a nice drop step and I'm playing good defense on you. So you inside roll.
Right, I inside roll.
And I'm playing good defense.
And we turn here and shoot. We call that the rocker step.
Okay.
It's
so
very effective. After you've beaten the guy on an inside roll, he'll be expecting it again. You fake the inside roll with your head and shoulders, and you come through and you got a free stick.
all right. Let's see some of these. Michael, demonstrate some of these full speed on me right now. First we'll do is the inside roll. Let's do an inside roll.
Okay, we're even at the goal line. I'm going to drive up, get into you, inside roll, shoot.
Okay. Next will be the rocker step.
Drive up. I've just beaten the inside roll. Fake it, shoot.
All right. Let's take a look at some highlights of this action. Here's a perfect example of a left-hand drive to a right-hand shot. This is textbook. You want to take the player up beyond 5 yards, turn towards the cage, giving yourself an angle, and shoot the ball low. Well, now you know how to dodge to the net, but how are you going to stop these moves? Dave Petramala, the premier defenseman in the history of lacrosse, is with us, and he's going to show us one-on-one defense and offer some secrets behind his patented takeaway checks. So let's go out to the field to hear from Petro. Dave, there's no secret that defense is the key to winning championships. So far in the video, we've seen a lot of ways to score goals, to dodging, shooting. We haven't talked about how to stop players. And show me right now some fundamentals to defense. What's the basic stance? I'll pretend I'm the attack player, and you talk about your positioning in regards to covering the ball.
Well, Quint, I think the first thing is just what you said, fundamentals are the key. The way we do things here at Hopkins are a little bit different, and we approach it as there's 3 different ways to play the ball behind the goal, and that all depends on where you are on the field. Right now we're in the back right position, as you know. The way I'm going to play it is, as I said, a little bit different. I think most defensemen are taught to square up and play the ball as you and I are right now, squared up, chest to chest basically. The way we teach it here is we try to take away options. We want to dictate to the opponent where we want him to go. We'd like to dictate to him to go behind the goal because it takes away his threat as a scorer and makes him more of a feeder. And our rule of thumb is force him behind the goal, take away the top side, and the top side being goal line, above the goal line extended.
Okay, as an attackman, I'm going to run directly at you or right or left. What are you going to do with your foot positioning and your stick positioning?
Well, the first thing I want to do is, again, I don't want to square up. So what we'll do is my foot positioning, our legs about shoulders width apart in a comfortable zone so I'm athletic. The next thing I do is I want to bend at the knees. A common mistake most defensemen make is they just bend at the waist. So right here, I want to bend at the knees. I'm in a comfortable position, okay? Then I'm going to bend a little bit at the waist. Now, what I spoke of before, the forcing the attackman behind the goal, we call it the heel-to-toe technique. And all I do here is I take my outside foot and I bring it a little bit forward. And my outside foot is the one facing the sideline, and I bring my inside foot and I drop it back. And now, as you can see, I'm trying to funnel you to the area behind the goal. And now my stick's going to kind of come into play. I want to use that as a cushion to keep distance between you and I. And what I'll do is I'll lay my stick right out in front of you in the gloves. Now I'm prepared to play the ball.
Well, Dave, I've dodged up to near the goal line extended, and let's say you're in good position. What are some keys from this area on the field?
Okay, Quint, the first thing is that I take a proper angle. Defense is played on straight lines and angles, not on arcs. And a common mistake a lot of defensemen will make is they'll play on arcs. I want to make sure I take an angle here, a real good angle, to cut you off. And as I said earlier, we want to take away the top side of the goal. So I want to take a proper angle where I'm going to beat you to a spot. And it's going to be very important that when I get to that spot, I swing my hips and I want to take my top foot and point it toward the corner. And we call that, okay, we call that closing the gate. And I'll show you the improper technique first. If you were driving up right-handed and I was here, right now I'm at a position, as you can see, all you need to do is run through my stick to get to the goal. And it's just like a gate opening up. But if I do a good job defending you and I take the proper angle and I beat you to that spot, and now I swing my hips here and I just take my top foot and point it to the corner of the field. Now as you can see, I've taken away the top side of the field with not only my stick, but my body also.
All right. Let's say I do get a step on you and you don't beat me to goal line extended,
Okay.
and I take you up to about 2 or 3 yards right here. You want stick on stick? You want to keep your stick in front?
We always teach all our defensemen here at Hopkins to have their sticks upfield, okay? Whether it be a defenseman behind the goal or a midi being inverted, our sticks are always upfield, which means they're always facing the midfield line. Okay, what I'd like to do here is we have a call for this. We call it island. Our goalie will yell to our defender, "You're island." What that says to our defender is, hey, you're in a lot of trouble. You're in a very vulnerable position. He's got a chance of scoring. So what we've got to do right here is take away your options. Right now you have the option of an inside roll, maybe a rocker step, or just to beat me topside or turn and shoot. I want to limit those options. So what I'd like to do here is try and swing my body, okay, and get in a position where I've taken away this option.
Right. I can't go to my right hand.
Okay.
There's no
While
way.
I'm doing this, I always want to make sure that I'm trying to drive you away from the goal with my feet. Okay. It's not stick pressure and it's not me pushing with just my arms, because you're very strong up here. Okay. What I'd like to do is get real low and get on your hips, because wherever I push your hips, the rest of your body's going to follow.
How can you avoid cross-checking the man? How far should your hands be apart?
Well, what we teach our guys here is we teach them to take their bottom hand and put it on their opponent's hip, and their top hand, and we try and put it either under the armpit or right underneath the ribs. So, all right? So now I've got a pretty good hold of you. And now every time you lift your foot to take a step, I want to drive, not with my body, not with my stick, but with my legs. So each time you lift your foot to run, I'm going to push you away with body pressure and my legs away from the goal.
Away from the goal, right, so I'm not as tight to the cage.
Correct.
Let's say you've done a great job and you forced me to take the inside roll. How are you going to play the inside roll? If I do
Okay.
a nice turn here, I might be in position. How are you going to counter that?
Well, one, that's a positive for us, because now you've got your back to the playing field. Okay, so you've now taken away your option to feed the ball. A lot of what we teach is within the framework of our defensive package. Okay, you can either slide cross crease from the crease, okay, but here you're turning your back to the play. We can immediately come double you.
Right,
But
I can't see that coming.
What I'd like to do individually here is, as you roll, what I want to do is take my inside foot here. Okay, I've got my outside foot toward the corner. I want to drop step, all right, a little drop step. And now as you try to come underneath, I want to keep my stick, my hands on your hip, and right here on your hips. And as you try and come underneath, I want to squeeze you behind the goal with my, as I did earlier when I tried to drive you away from the goal. When you try to inside roll me here, I just want to drop step, come down the line and try and squeeze you behind the goal by driving you with my legs. And we've got a call for that. Our goaltender, when you inside roll, will yell, "Squeeze," and we're going to drive you here.
All right. Now, you're not bringing your stick across.
Never.
Often you see defensemen, the guy inside roll, they bring the stick across, opening up the strong side again. That's a cardinal sin of defense. You want to keep it to the strong side.
Exactly. As we said earlier, we always want to keep our stick upfield, and what you just showed there is we call it windshield wiping. And what I mean by that is when you roll, I windshield wipe with my stick. I bring it back and forth. And by me bringing my stick back here, what have I given you? The option of coming topside again, and that's a cardinal sin defensively. The first check I'd like to show you is just a simple slap check. And this is when an attackman is carrying the ball going to my weak hold. okay? As we said earlier, we want to keep our stick out in front of him, about between the hips and the belly button. As you can see right now, Chris has got his stick exposed in front of him. That's a great time for me to use a slap check. And what we'd like to do is just keep our stick out and have a quick little snap, okay? The nice thing about this check is it's very quickly done, okay? And it doesn't put you out of position. Where it hurts you is if you begin to wind up to throw your check, because one, he has an opportunity to react, and as you bring your stick back here, he also has an opportunity to get in on your body and take away my ability to check or to roll as I check. So what I want to do is make sure I keep my distance, keep my stick out in front of me, and just a quick little slap check, okay? Another one is the poke check. And I'll just switch hands for this because it might be a little bit easier there. If Chris is coming and now I'm playing right-handed, a poke check is the most unused check in lacrosse. And what it does, it's going to set up a variety of other things. If Chris is coming right-handed and now I'm in my stronghold because I've switched hands and he's exposing his stick in front, I want to just throw a little poke in there and just slide my stick through my top hand. And as I do that, I want to turn the head of my stick so I have more of a surface area of my stick to try and hit his. If I just slide it through like here, it's very difficult for me to get a piece of his stick. But as I slide it through, if I can just change planes of my stick and twist it, it's going to give me a better opportunity to get a piece of his stick. Now those two checks are going to set up a variety of other things. If you've got a good slap and a good poke, you can do a number of other things. For example, if he, again, now I'm back to my weak hold, playing this way. If Chris is running and now he sees my stick in front of him and all of a sudden he's exposing it behind him, we can throw another check. And the way we do that is we set it up with the slap. We just give him a quick little slap, another quick little slap, and then as I slap maybe the third time, he's going to pull it back and I can fake that and I can check behind him. That's a very dangerous check, Quint. It's going to put you out of position probably. And as we said, there's a time and a place to check. The time is when you really need the ball, and the place is way out in the open area. When you get goal line extended, we believe that your stick goes out the window and all you do is play position. The other check is a butt dig. Very simply, it's set up by the poke check. You run along with your attackman or your midfielder, and you're giving him a little poke. Well, if I've gotten him on a poke check once or twice, he's going to begin to become weary of that check, and he's going to start to expose his stick not in front, but behind. And now all I do is I poke him once, the next time maybe I give him a big fake and he pulls his stick back, and now all I do is bring my stick from the front plane of his body to the back, and I poke behind his hip, and I just try to lift his butt end. The over-the-head check is probably one of the most misused check. It's used in desperation. Quite often when an attackman gets a step on a defenseman, the only thing he has to do is go over his head. If for some reason you find yourself in that position, what we want to do is there is a certain technique to use. Okay, the first thing is we've got to close the gap a little between the attackman and the defender. Okay, because if I'm way back here, there's no chance that I can ever get to his stick. The other thing is it's set up by a poke check. I want to give him a big poke check to get him to pull his stick way, way back. Now, as I've poked, I've slowly closed that gap. As he exposes his stick on his back plane, I want to take my bottom hand, and what we do is we call it punch the sky. And I want to take my bottom hand and punch the sky, and now you see it puts my stick on an angle where I can go over his head and get a piece of his stick. You'll find a lot of defensemen throw that check at goal line extended, and there couldn't be a worse place to throw it because it is a do-or-die situation. If you get it, you're everybody's All-American, and if you miss it, you know, you might find yourself sitting on the bench.
We've got some highlight of both successful and unsuccessful checks. As a goaltender, I face thousands of shots, but the best I've ever faced comes from Gary Gait. His shot is accurate, it's extremely fast, and very deceptive. Let's take it outside, where Gary discusses the art of shooting.
Shooting's very important. There are a few basic skills that you can learn to really help improve your shooting. The first one I like to talk about will be quickness. Now, what quickness is simply decreasing the time it takes to go from your cradle to your shot. Okay? So you really want to go from your cradle to a quick release shot. All right? Now, how we do that is by driving this bottom hand up and having this hand relatively low and the stick parallel. Now we have the ability to turn that stick over really quick and get some real speed on the head of the stick by that push-pull motion. This will really develop some quickness. So when you come off your cradle, drive that hand up, you can develop a real quick shot. From quickness, we want to move on to deception. Now, deception is very important. There are different aspects of deception. The first part of deception is hiding the ball in your stick behind your body. So if I was shooting at you guys, now I take and I move my stick behind my head on this side or down below my shoulder here. What this does is I can start my throwing motion, and as I come through on my motion, the goalie loses sight of the ball for a split second, making it harder for him to pick it up and make the save. If I held the stick out here, the goalie could see the ball, focus on it, and watch it into his stick. So it's important to bring that stick either around behind you here or dip it down below your shoulder. The next thing we want to talk about after deception is fakes. And fakes are very important more when you're closer to the goal. When you're shooting an outside shot, fakes don't really come into play. But anytime you move close to the goal, now you have the ability to throw a fake and make the goalie move out of the way so it opens up more space for you to shoot at. Now the basic fake is really just an extended cradle. You just want to take and extend that upper hand again using that stick in your fingers. Turn that stick so that ball stays in there. So it's almost just an extended cradle. Okay? Now an important thing to remember when you're shooting on a fake is that you always want to keep this bottom hand out in front of this top hand. Okay? So if I fake, if you notice, this bottom hand's still in front of the top hand here. Okay, the reason for this is, as I fake, now from this position, I have the ability to shoot still. Okay, if I fake and bring the top hand further out than my bottom hand, I cannot shoot the ball from this position. I then have to bring it back and now shoot again, which gives the goalie time to react back and get in good position again. So again, it's important to keep that hand, that bottom hand out in front as you throw the fake. To make it a little more effective, you may want to throw your head and shoulder into it. If you notice here, I'm barely even moving my stick, but I'm rotating my shoulders and moving my head just as if I was going to shoot. This in itself is a fake. So it's a combination of that body and head movement with that little extended cradle that really makes your fake effective.
Good players will get excellent opportunities to score goals from in close, and Gary's got some advice for one-on-one shots.
Well, you really want to increase your percentage here. You should be able to score 9 out of 10 times when shooting this close one-on-one with the goalie. The biggest mistake most players make is they catch the ball and they turn and they shoot high right into the goalie stick. The reason they do this is because they just react. You got to learn and develop control around this area because you should be able to score. What really helps is faking. If you can throw a little fake to move the goalie or freeze the goalie in this area, it'll open up a lot of the net for you to score. All right? So as I come in here, I'm going to do a near fake and shoot far. I come in, I use my head, my body, my shoulders, and a little cradle fake to draw him near, okay? Now I bring him up. By keeping this bottom hand in front, I now have the ability to bring it down around to the far side. Okay.
There's nothing I can do as a goalie here. I've got to respect that fake. And you'll see my stick comes up, and then there's no way I can counter-react and make that save.
The important thing to remember when you're doing a high to low fake is once you've made that fake high, you don't want to drop your whole body low and then you shoot. Because once you drop your body low, it takes time to drop it and the goalie will automatically drop down with you. So if you can fake high and then just using your wrist here, drive that stick down, the goalie won't have time to react.
Gary, what about a fake low, shoot high?
Okay, same thing goes when you fake low to shoot high. If you come down, you want to dip down just like you're shooting low, and then you, same thing, a little cradle fake, keeping that bottom hand out in front so that now I'm here I'm here and I just flip it high over the shoulder.
Again, as a goaltender, there's no way, I've got to respect this stick down low. There's no way I can bring it down and then back up. Also, the behind the back shot can be used here.
Well, the behind the back shot would come more when you pass the center of the goal and you're on your strong side. So the goalie's really taking away a lot of the net shooting this way. So you have the ability to come around and put it into the open net on the far side. Especially when you're catching a feed from behind and you come here, if you just throw a little fake, you open it up and then you put it in the bottom corner.
Again,
So if you catch the ball here just a little and put it in.
and this is something that you should practice on your own before
Definitely.
you do it in a game.
Anytime you're in this close to the goal, the biggest thing you want to do is just stand straight up and work with that, developing your hands, that stick movement. You can just throw fakes, you can do anything you want. As soon as you start telegraphing where you're going to shoot, that's when you're going to make a lot of saves. If I stand straight up and shoot, I'm going to shoot right into the goalie's stick. If I stand straight up here and I'll just quickly bring it down, he's not going to have time to react. It's all a matter of practice.
Practice these shots and you'll score 90% of the time during your one-on-one opportunities. Gary's probably the only guy that lets shoot on me without a helmet. I can't even come close to matching those fakes, even after all these years. Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Quint.
The face-off is an individual skill that can win and lose lacrosse games. Frank Kelly, former face-off specialist at Cornell University and perennial club all-star, is with us, and he's going to show us some of the tactics that he uses to win face-offs. Everyone understands the importance of face-offs, Frank, but it all starts with a good stance.
Real important. The key to the stance is you want to get down and you want your weight on the balls of your feet. You don't want to be back on your heels, and you definitely don't want too much weight on your hands. That's a common mistake. A lot of guys like to get down with a lot of weight on their hands. There's no perfect stance. I personally like a stance where my feet are right underneath me and the weight's on the balls of my toes.
All right, how far should your hands be spread apart?
Again, I think the ideal situation is anywhere 12 to 18 inches. Some guys will go way down here, but I think it takes away some of the moves that you have in your bag of tricks.
Okay, what about the top hand? You're not allowed to have your glove on the plastic, is that the rule?
Yeah, I mean, basically, the rule says you shouldn't have any part of your hand on the plastic. Sometimes a portion of the glove may rest up there, but most referees will monitor that during the game, and you're not allowed to have your thumb up on the head of the stick at all.
All right, so we're in our basic positioning here before the whistle's blown. We're off the ball. Your first move.
Well, there's a number of moves, but I like to try to establish a clamp. Based on my experience and what I've seen, the best face-off men have strong clamps, and with a strong clamp, you can consistently control where the ball's going to go, whether it's behind you to your wingman or in front for a fast break. So, depending on what my opponent's going to do, I try to anticipate that. I usually like to get my clamp going.
Okay, what's a move consist of?
Well, there's a number of clamps. I believe the key to the clamp and the key to most of the face-off moves, there's four main elements. One is concentration, one is quickness, both with your hands and your feet. One of the real keys is technique, and then strength. A lot of younger athletes in high school and younger college athletes tend to think it's heavy on strength. I believe quickness and technique are essential. I personally like a clamp where I have my right hand up at the head of my stick, not too far onto the plastic or onto the plastic. I'm on the ground. My hands are on the ground, parallel with the line. but I believe the clamp begins with the left hand. I like to have my left hand cocked so that I get this motion. What I try to do is have the stronger part of my stick, which is the base of the stick, move towards the ball against the weaker part of my opponent's stick, which is the top of his head, and look to try to get on the ball quickly. I don't want to clamp his stick, I want to clamp the ball.
Right, so you're pushing with your bottom hand and clamping with your top hand.
Correct. I like to keep the left hand cocked. If you can see here, I like to get it cocked so that I can snap over on the ball. And a good exercise would be to get it cocked far enough that you can snap all the way over. If you can do that, your left hand is cocked enough to get the quick snap you need. A lot of guys think the clamp comes from the right hand, and when you have a lot of energy on the right hand, you tend not to be as quick. Now, sometimes you can use both hands, but I really believe the key to the technique is having that left hand cocked and getting over on the ball quickly. Another common technique I like to use is the rake, and it can be done a couple of different ways. When you get down, again, your weight over the balls of your feet. Instead of having your left hand cocked in order to snap for the clamp, you almost want to bring it up another way, or almost reverse so you can push through the opponent's stick. I like to get a lot of weight. I like to get weight on my stick here, and when the whistle blows, you're always trying to anticipate and feel that whistle. You're snapping through your opponent's stick, looking to pop it to your side or in front. Again, there's a couple different kinds of rakes. One would be a real quick rake, just popping it down the line and trying to spin it out. It works well on a turf surface. The other is more of a push rake, where you're really trying to get down and under and through your opponent's stick like that.
That works good against the clamp, correct, or no?
It can. I always believe that a good clamp will be a good rake.
Okay.
And let me move into something there. A rake can be an effective move, but if I know an opponent's going to rake, and I'm a good clamper with good technique, I should always be able to stop that rake. And a common way to stop that, a good move with the clamp, again, if my opponent's going to rake, is I come down the line with my opponent, I just bring my stick lightly down the line, and then look to put it back and go get the ball. Good face-off man should try to win 75 to 80% of his draws in the high school level. If he can win between 70 and 75% in the college level, he would be one of the best. And in the club level, again, you want to shoot for that 75 to 80% range. I believe a good clamp with quickness and technique, followed by a good rake and an occasional top or jam, can make you a great face-off man.
Thanks, Frank. Quickness and technique, the keys to face-offs. No one can underestimate the importance of the goaltending position. And goaltending comes down to a couple simple skills. One is quickness, two is positioning, and three, I really believe, is heart. Really, how much do you want to make the save? Let's take a look at some basic positioning and some basic technique as far as a stance is concerned. The important thing on a stance is to really get your legs into the action. Too many goaltenders think that their stick is the answer and thinks that their stick will make all the saves. A lacrosse goal is 6 feet by 6 feet. That's a lot of territory. That's 36 square feet. You've got to be able to move your feet to get from one side of the cage to the other side of the cage. So you've got to be in an athletic position, much like a defensive stance. The hands have to be out and up with the stick in the box position right up here in the corner. You'll notice from the side now that my elbows are away from my body, enabling me to move my stick much like the arms of a clock. You'll see my stick moves around like the arms of a clock. Incorporate that with the feet, and I'm here. I'm able to make saves in all directions. Okay, my head is up, my shoulders are out. The next thing we'll look at is positioning in the goal. You're in your base stance, but where do you stand in the goal? I like to use a 1-yard arc. I will never really find myself more than a yard away from the goal line. Okay? When the ball's up top, the furthest I'll be out is about a yard right here in the middle of the cage if the ball's in the middle. And then as the ball progresses, I'm going to take small steps, shuffling my feet, never taking big steps, small feet, maintaining my stance. As I get near the pipe now, I'm going to use my stick to find it, use my foot to find it, and I'm in good position. Again, Ball moves left, I'm this way. Find the pipe with my butt end, find the pipe with my butt end. I'm still in good position. Back again. This way, I'm always in position to make the save. The worst thing you can do as a goaltender is put yourself where you're in a position that you're not using your goaltending skills, which we'll talk about after these highlights. Let's look at a couple fundamental saves. First save is the stick side high save, where the shot is going to come to my stick side. I want to keep my eye on the ball the whole time. Very important thing as a goaltender is to follow the ball. I want to step with my right foot, see the ball into the stick, and make the outlet pass. Next save is going to be the stick side hip save, which is the same thing, except I'm bending my knees a little, getting my head on the ball. You'll see I'm in a nice athletic position. Again, stick side hip. Make the save, see it all the way, bend your knees. You'll notice I step towards the shooter, or at least at a 45-degree angle. That way, in case my stick misses it, I can block it with my body. The next save is a stick side low save. That's down in this area. That's good. This is very important here to bend your knees. You'll see a lot of young goalies will go down this way and not bend their knees. It's important, you'll watch my legs, to get down here and then bring the stick down. The top hand controls the power, the bottom hand you want to bring up top. Again, it looks like this, right here. You're here in your stance to here, right here. If you can't catch it, you just want to block it and clamp. Okay, next save is the offside high save. It's a difficult save. The ball's going to be shot up here. I'm going to step with my left leg, bring the top hand over, and push the bottom hand through. Right here. It's a real quick move. Doesn't take very long. Let's take a look at that. Offside high. Again, I'm stepping with my left leg towards the shooter and following the ball all the way into my stick. Right here. That way, in case I miss it with my stick, I can get my head there. Offside hip is perhaps the toughest shot. That's going in this area. I've got to either move my stick all the way over here or all the way over here, depending on which one I like the best. Let's see that one. Underneath that time. Again, move your body there. That way, in case you miss it with your stick, you can block it with your glove, okay? Same thing one more time. Notice the foot movement. Okay, that time I didn't catch it. I'll catch this one. One more, right there. And then offside low, which is a sweep save, which you bring your stick all the way down, stepping with the left foot here. See that one, right here. You want to push off with your right foot, get your stick there, and control your rebounds. Again, offside low, right there. See the ball into the stick the whole way. And remember, the keys to goaltending are positioning, quickness, and heart. You've got to put yourself in the position to use your skills, use your quickness, your foot speed, your hand speed, and show a lot of heart. Get your body behind every shot. Your team's going to win a lot of ball games if you can follow those three keys. Every team needs offensive players who can dodge and shoot. But just as important is the offensive player who knows how to cut to the goal, knows how to get open, and knows how to set a pick. Loyola coach Dave Cottle is with us, and he's going to show you some techniques to improve your off-the-ball offense. Well, so far in the video, we've seen a lot of individual skills, how to